This artwork is by George McCalman, one of the keynote speakers at the recent Unleash Grenada conference. He was commissioned by the Grenada National Museum to paint this mural, ahead of the reopening of their doors to the general public after 3 years of closure. George painted it with the help of 2 local Grenada artists, Fayola Edwards and Stacey Bayer. I featured Stacey on my channel before. She painted the mural on Grenada's beach, which depicts what a healthy reef should look like. The Grenada National Museum can be found on Young Street, a few steps from the Karen Lounge. This image on their museum website caught my eye. It shows the museum in 1902, when it used to be a hotel, and it would remain a hotel up until the 1960s. Before that, it was, at one point, a prison. The National Museum, as we know it today, was first established in 1976. George McCalman is an individual worth getting to know. His keynote speech at the Unleash Grenada conference was outstanding. George works as a graphic designer, illustrator, publisher, exhibition designer, interior designer, to name but a few. But the themes shared in his speech can apply to anyone in any business, and I found what he had to say to be both inspirational and enlightening. If I had to choose one quote from his speech, the quote I would choose is, "If you know the system, then you know how to operate in it. If you don't know the system, then you are lost." That quote reminds me of the movie King Richard, depicting the struggles but ultimate success of the Williams sisters. You see their father working in an environment that does not welcome them, does not want them, and is trying its best to keep them out. But he understood the system, and he worked the system. The 3 takeaways I got from George's speech is: number 1, know your worth, and don't let anyone get in the way of that. George said, "I've never wondered at any time what anyone thinks of my audacity. I've always been centered in my own belief of myself." Number 2, know your business inside out, from the front end all the way through to the back end. With this knowledge and experience, no one can blindside you or pull a fast one on you. And number 3, when it comes to your intellectual property, tangible and intangible, understand who owns the copyright. Not just who does the work, but who owns the work. He said Grenada is rich in resources, rich when it comes to creatives. Yet white people are always looking to own their work. He said if you are not looking at the back end of what you are producing as a business, then someone else will. I love his unapologetic approach to who he is and how he works. He said that in his career sometimes he would be the only black person in the room, and whilst some may find it amusing, he found it tedious, because what he does is not rocket science. He recognized that he is working in a system that is doing its best to keep people that look like him out, and that as black people we are always kept out of specific pieces of a process. George is founder and co-principal of creative design studio McCalman Co, alongside Miriam Thompson. This is why, with the studio, they perform every stage of the process from conception to delivery. He said they represent the entire ecosystem and no one can get in the middle of that. No one can tell them any difference. he is always in front of his work as opposed to behind his work, and that he brings a black perspective to everything. While some may view him as egotistical or big-headed, he said he did not have the luxury to be or do anything else, otherwise he would have been pushed to one side. I want the gatekeeper to know that I know what he knows, which reorientates the conversation, which means no one could pull a fast one. I am paraphrasing wildly, grabbing bits from here and there. He also tells lots of really powerful stories, which is why I urge you to listen to his speech yourself. The link is in the description below the video. George is the author and illustrator of a book called Illustrated Black History, honoring the iconic and the unseen. The book uses illustration to celebrate black pioneers across American history over 400 years. A book in which he won the NAACP Image Award in the Outstanding Literary Work Debut Author category. This is a book I am going to get my hands on as soon as possible. And don't forget to check out his mural at the Grenada National Museum.